My name is Daniel Cole. I'm 36 years old, a firefighter in Austin, Texas. I've pulled people out of collapsed buildings. I've faced flames that nearly swallowed me whole. But nothing, prepared me for the day I came home and found my puppy was gone. It was a Thursday. I remember because my shift had ended early. I was excited. I had this new treat I knew Max would love. He always waited for me right at the door. Tail wagging, tongue out, ears perked up like a cartoon character. But that day, the house was silent. His bed was still there. His leash was hanging where it always was. But Max, my golden retriever, the little guy I raised since he was 8 weeks old, he was gone. And then I saw it. A note taped to the fridge. Just 2 lines, scribbled in her handwriting. "Don't contact me. Max is better off with me anyway." That was it. No explanation. No discussion. Just gone. She didn't just take the dog. She ripped out a piece of my soul. I sat on the floor, staring at Max's favorite toy, a ragged stuffed bear with one eye missing. My chest felt tight. Not the way it does after smoke inhalation. This was different. This was betrayal. The thing is, Max wasn't just a dog. He was there when my dad died. He slept at my feet during the long nights I worked double shifts. He licked the tears off my face after Brooke and I had our first big fight. And now she had him. She thought she won. She thought I'd roll over like a dog myself. But there's something she didn't know. Something she forgot. Max was microchipped. And that chip? It had my name on it. And that right there. That's the moment I stopped crying and started fighting back. We met in the most cliché way possible, at a dog adoption event. I wasn't even planning on going. My buddy from the station dragged me along. Said I needed to get a life outside work. That's where I saw her, Brooke. Blonde hair pulled up in a messy ponytail, sitting on a picnic blanket, cradling a squirmy golden retriever puppy like he was her own baby. The puppy locked eyes with me. I swear, it was like he chose me. We laughed about it later. How Max kept crawling out of her lap and waddling toward me. She joked that I must smell like baking grease from the firehouse. Maybe I did. But that day felt like a beginning. Brooke and I clicked fast. She was a freelance graphic designer, worked from home. Loved dogs, loved coffee, hated mornings. 3 weeks later, we officially adopted Max together. She signed the papers as my emergency contact. I didn't think much of it. It just felt right. Our apartment became a little world of our own. Max in the middle of everything, barking during Zoom calls, knocking over laundry baskets, sneaking onto the bed when he thought we were asleep. We'd take him to Zilker Park every Sunday. Brooke always brought a tote bag full of squeaky toys, and those biodegradable poop bags she swore were non-negotiable. At first, life felt peaceful, stable, like I finally had something solid to hold on to. But looking back now, the signs were there. Tiny ones, but sharp, like splinters under your skin. She used to say things like, "He listens to me better than he listens to you." Or, "If we ever broke up, I'd totally win custody." She said it laughing, always with a playful tone. But something about the way she looked at Max sometimes, like he was hers, not ours. I brushed it off. Thought maybe I was reading into things too much. Then came the career shift. She got a big contract with a corporate client out in Dallas. Suddenly, she was traveling more. Staying overnight. Late Zoom meetings in locked rooms. Her phone, always on silent. Messages that disappeared as soon as I walked in the room. I remember asking her once, "You okay? You've been a little distant lately." And she just said, "Maybe I'm tired of carrying all the emotional weight around here." I didn't even know what to say to that. I thought we were a team. We had our dog, our place, our future. But I started to feel like a guest in my own home. Max would sit by the door when she left, waiting for hours. Sometimes she'd be gone the whole weekend, and not tell me until she was already halfway out the door. Still, I kept pretending everything was fine. Kept showing up to work, pulling shifts, buying the same dog food Max loved. Held on to the routine like it could somehow fix what was breaking. Because deep down, I believed it was just a phase. Stress, deadlines, normal relationship stuff. I didn't know then that she had already made up her mind. I didn't know that while I was trying to save what we had, she was planning to take the one thing that kept me steady. The thing about distance is, it doesn't show up all at once. It creeps in slowly, like a leak in a ceiling, quiet at first, until one day the whole room is soaked and you don't know when it started. That's how it was with Brooke. She started putting passwords on everything, her phone, her laptop, even her calendar. She said it was for client confidentiality. I didn't push. I wanted to be the man who trusted her. But little things started piling up. The way she'd jerk her phone away when a notification popped up. The sudden call she'd take on the balcony in a whisper. The way she'd pack weekend bags but never leave a return time. I told myself not to spiral. Max was my anchor. He didn't care about the tension. He just wanted belly rubs and long walks. But even he noticed the change. He'd whine at the door for hours after she left. And when she came back, she barely acknowledged him. One night, around 2 a.m., I woke up to use the bathroom. On the way back to bed, I saw her phone light up on the counter. I don't know what made me stop, but I did. The name on the screen was saved as marketing lead, but the message read, "I miss you too. Can't wait to see you next weekend." Blue heart. My stomach dropped. I didn't say anything. I just stared at the message, then at her sleeping in bed like nothing was wrong. I went outside. Max followed me. We sat on the steps for what felt like an hour. Just me and him under the porch light, his head resting on my knee. He didn't understand what was happening. Hell, neither did I. I started noticing everything after that. The way she stopped saying good morning. Stopped laughing at my jokes. Stopped signing, "Love you," at the end of her notes. The apartment felt colder. Not because of the weather. Because the warmth she used to bring, the little things, they were just gone. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I started watching. Quietly. Carefully. Every move, every word, every lie that slipped through her smile. I wasn't trying to catch her. Not really. I think I just wanted her to prove me wrong. But she didn't. She only got bolder. One Sunday, she left early. For a brunch meeting. I stayed back with Max. Took him to the park. Tried to enjoy what little peace we had. But when I checked her location later, something she'd voluntarily shared months ago, it showed her in Dallas. That's when something inside me shifted. Something cold, quiet, firm. I didn't yell. Didn't text. Didn't ask questions. I just whispered to Max, "Don't worry, buddy. I've got us now." Because whatever this was, whatever she had planned, I knew it wasn't over. Not yet. And I had a feeling the next move would be hers. It happened on a Tuesday. 2 days after Brooke came home from another client meeting weekend. She walked in like nothing happened, dropped her bags, kissed Max on the head, and went straight to the bedroom. No hug. No look. Not even a hi. I should have said something. But instead, I just watched her. That night, she fell asleep early. Max curled up beside me on the couch like he always did. We were mid-episode of some cooking show we used to love. I barely noticed when it ended. I just sat there, in the silence, replaying everything in my head. Then I remembered something. Something stupid. Brooke had posted an Instagram story earlier that weekend, just for a few seconds. It was blurry fast, but I remembered a laugh. A man's laugh in the background. I opened her profile. Nothing there now. But then I checked a friend's account, one of the few people who hadn't unfollowed her yet. That's where I saw it. A tag photo. Brooke. In Dallas. Holding Max. Next to a guy I'd never seen before. She captioned it, "My two favorite boys, Yellowheart." My throat dried instantly. I clicked the guy's profile. Public. They were everywhere. Restaurants, rooftops, trails, with my dog. Smiling. Acting like a happy little family. And Max? He looked confused. He always tilted his head slightly when he was anxious. In one photo, he was doing it, staring at the camera while she held him tight like some damn accessory. I sat there frozen. The betrayal didn't come like an explosion. It came like a slow wave, rising in my chest until it was hard to breathe. I walked into the bedroom. She was dead asleep. Peaceful. Like nothing she'd done carried weight. I didn't wake her. Didn't scream. Didn't throw anything. I just walked into the living room. Picked up Max's folder, his adoption records, his vaccine receipts, and one very specific piece of paper I hadn't looked at in months. His microchip registration form. Owner, Daniel Cole. Emergency contact, Brooke Lyons. Status, active. And that's when it hit me. She could fake smiles. She could post photos. She could even try to rewrite the story. But what she couldn't fake was a microchip embedded under his skin, tied to my name, legally, officially, permanently. I didn't cry that night. I didn't beg or plead or try to fix anything. Instead, I quietly sat at the dining table, opened my laptop, and started building a folder I titled, Max, Proof of Ownership, because she may have walked out thinking she'd already won. But the game? It hadn't even started yet. I wasn't rushing anything. That night, after seeing the pictures, after staring at Max's microchip registration, I decided I wouldn't confront her. Not yet. I wasn't going to shout, or argue, or throw ultimatums. Because this wasn't just emotional anymore. This was legal. This was war. And I wasn't going to lose a war I didn't start. The next morning, she acted like nothing was wrong. She made coffee. Said she had a design deadline and would be working from a cafe all day. I just nodded. Let her leave. As soon as the door closed behind her, I got to work. Step 1. I called the adoption agency we used to adopt Max. Explained the situation calmly. I was polite, but firm. They looked up the record. My name was listed as the sole legal adopter. Not co-owned. Not joint custody. Just me. Would you be able to email me a copy of that paperwork? Of course, Mr. Cole. We're so sorry to hear what's happened. I printed it out. Highlighted my name. Step 2. I called our vet, the one who handled all of Max's checkups. Explained the situation again. They confirmed Max's microchip was linked to my name and my ID only. Brooke had brought him in once, but she'd never changed any information. He was still mine in every system that mattered. We'll send over his full medical file immediately. I'm so sorry you're dealing with this. I added the vet records to the folder. Step 3. I called a friend of mine, Adam, who worked as a paralegal at a small family law firm in Austin. Told him everything. He didn't hesitate. Get all your proof together, he said. Microchip registration, vet records, adoption forms, photos, everything you've got showing a consistent history of ownership. Once you've got it, we'll file a claim of property theft. I spent the next 3 hours going through my phone, hard drives, even Brooke's old cloud backups, compiling photos and videos of me and Max together from the very beginning. Puppy training, vet visits, birthday parties. There were hundreds. Meanwhile, Brooke stayed gone longer and longer. Every time she came back, Max was more exhausted, like he wasn't sleeping right. I could tell he wasn't happy. He'd sit by the door when she left again, but this time, he didn't wait as long. He started staying closer to me, sleeping at my feet again, following me from room to room. It felt like he was sensing it too, that something wasn't right. One night, Brooke came home later than usual. She smelled like someone else's cologne. She didn't notice I was sitting in the dark, working on my laptop. She tossed her keys into the bowl and headed straight for the bedroom. I didn't say a word, but in that moment I knew. This was it. She was going to take him and not bring him back. So I took one more step. Step 4. I called animal control, explained that I had strong reason to believe someone was planning to steal my legally owned Microchip pet. They didn't act surprised. Apparently, this kind of thing happens more often than people think during breakups, divorces, custody battles. The officer I spoke to told me exactly what to do. If she takes the dog without your consent and he's microchipped to you, it's theft. File a report the moment it happens. Keep a copy of all ownership proof ready. If we recover him, the microchip settles it instantly. So I pre-wrote the police report. I had it saved, signed, ready to submit. All it needed was a date. I also installed a tiny camera in the living room, not to spy, but to protect myself. If she took Max when I wasn't home, I needed proof of the moment it happened. Every move I made was quiet, calm, invisible. Because if I've learned anything in my years of firefighting, it's that you don't fight fire with fire. You fight it with water, with control, with strategy. Brooke thought I'd break down. Thought I'd chase her, argue, beg, yell. But I wasn't giving her that. I was giving her nothing. No reaction. No resistance. Just silence. And paperwork. And a plan. Because she didn't know it yet. But I was about to take back everything. It didn't take long. The trap I'd quietly built over weeks? She walked right into it. It was a Sunday morning, 2 days after her birthday. She had plans to get away for a mental reset, whatever that meant. But this time, she didn't ask. She didn't even pretend. She just walked out of the bedroom with Max's leash in her hand. Didn't look at me. Didn't say goodbye. Just clipped him in and walked toward the door. I stood up slowly. "Where are you taking him?" I asked, quiet, calm. She turned around like I had just interrupted her shopping cart in Target. "To Dallas," she said. "You'll be fine without him for a few days." Her tone was casual, dismissive, like she was talking to a neighbor, not the man who raised that dog since he could barely walk straight. "You're not taking him," I said, just as quiet. She laughed. Actually laughed. "He's my dog, Daniel. Get over it." That's when I pulled out the folder. Thick. Labeled. Neatly tabbed. I handed it to her. This is proof of legal ownership. The adoption form. The vet records. The microchip certificate with my name on it. Everything's in here. If you walk out that door with him, you're committing theft. And just so you know, this conversation is being recorded. I gestured toward the blinking camera light behind me. Her face drained. You're not serious. I didn't blink. Try me. She stared at me like she didn't recognize who I was anymore. Maybe she didn't. Maybe for the first time, she was seeing the version of me that didn't just absorb her lies quietly. The one who had limits. Max looked up at me, tail low, uncertain, scared. That broke something in me, but I didn't show it. He stays, I said again. She didn't say another word. She dropped the leash on the floor, grabbed her tote bag, and stormed out. Didn't even close the door. Just left. 3 hours later, I got a call from Animal Control. Apparently, Brooke had tried to file a counterclaim, said I was withholding her dog out of spite. But the officer she spoke to? He already had a file from me, time-stamped, documented, airtight. They called me to confirm. I offered to bring Max in to skin the chip. That afternoon, we drove to the Animal Services Center. I wasn't nervous, I was calm. Confident. They scanned Max's chip. The number popped up. Matched directly to Daniel Cole, registered owner. The officer looked at me, smiled politely. You're good to go, sir. You have nothing to worry about. Just before we left, I asked one last question. And if she tries this again? She can't. You've already filed a report. If she attempts to take him again, it's criminal. Not civil. That's all I needed to hear. A week later, I received a letter from her lawyer. It was vague, full of soft threats about emotional distress and custody discussions. I forwarded it to Adam, my paralegal friend. He sent one sentence back. Tell her to try it in court. She'll get laughed out of the room. She didn't try again. No calls. No texts. No more Instagram stories pretending Max was hers. It was over. The silence that followed was the sweetest part of all. A few nights later, I was sitting on the couch, Max curled up beside me, snoring with his nose against my leg. I looked at him and whispered, We did it, buddy. Because I hadn't just won. I'd done it the right way. Quietly. Legally. Without stooping to her level. And in the end, she walked away with her lies, her photos, her delusions. But I walked away with the one thing that never betrayed me. My best friend. It's been almost 9 months now. Brooke's name doesn't come up anymore. Not in conversation, not in my thoughts, not even in nightmares. The apartment's quieter, but not empty. Just peaceful. Max still sleeps at the foot of my bed, though sometimes he sneaks up beside me if the thunder gets too loud. I don't stop him. He's earned it. We still go to Zilker Park every Sunday. Same spot. Same squeaky tennis ball. Different vibe. Sometimes people ask if I adopted him alone. I just smile and say, Yeah, he's all mine. Because he is. He always was. She just held the leash for a little while. I started volunteering at the animal shelter again. Not because I'm trying to fill a void, but because I finally have something to give. I'd helped 3 dogs get placed in forever homes. Taught basic leash training on weekends. Even started helping with the website, posting photos and writing bios. One of the volunteers, Maya, said my write-ups are weirdly emotional. I laughed and told her, You'd be emotional too if someone tried to steal your dog and rewrite your life." She didn't press for more. She just handed me a cup of coffee and said, "Well, whoever Max is, he's lucky." I looked down at my boy, snoozing under the picnic table. "Nah," I said. "I'm the lucky one." I think a lot about what I learned from all this. Not just about trust, or relationships, or legal rights, though all that matters. What sticks with me the most is how quiet revenge can be. How powerful it is when it doesn't come with shouting or slamming doors. How healing isn't loud. Sometimes, the best revenge is simply getting your peace back. And knowing that while someone else tried to take something from you, they failed. Because truth doesn't need volume. It just needs proof. And in my case, it was embedded under the skin of a golden retriever with a crooked tail and an unstoppable heart. If you're still here, still listening, thank you. And if you've ever had something stolen from you, not just a dog, but time, love, loyalty, dignity, I hope you know this. You can rebuild. You can win. And you don't have to lose your soul in the process. She took everything she thought mattered. But she didn't take me. And she sure as hell didn't take Max. She walked away with her ego. I walked away with my best friend. And from that, I rebuilt everything. Not for revenge. Not for her. But for me.